Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's business credit account. That's 5% in all purchases in-store or online, subject to credit approval, U.S. only. Good stuff today. Mark Schlereth was money on Ndamukong Suh, Saquon Barkley. So I saw this story yesterday. Cleveland Cavaliers LeBron James spends $1.5 million a year on his body. I don't know how much a chef costs, or a nutritionist costs, or trainers cost, but it's worth it because I think he's offensively as good as I've ever seen him. And I have no idea what a masseuse costs or Alex Guerrero for Tom Brady costs, but $1.5 million a year for his body seems incredibly reasonable. And like Brady and LeBron, I think they're showing a certain level of commitment that it is absolutely paying off. I was never. Let me go back to when I started in this business. I was never really jealous of anybody, but there were people in my business of broadcasting, because I grew up on radio, listening to radio. I was always sort of looking at the guy that had the great pipes. You know, they always had names like, I'm Sky Bannister, 96.5, Seattle's best rock. And as a kid, I would listen to those voices, and I would be like, I don't sound like that, and I'm never going to sound like that, and I'm never going to make it to a big city. I just don't sound like that. And so there was always part of me that was like, man, I wish I had a great voice. And so probably the reason I've worked hard is because I didn't. And one of the things that I've seen in my career, it always amazes me that some people get these God-given gifts, great cheekbones, great voice, and they just kind of average. And I'm like, dude, the man upstairs, or the woman upstairs, or the person upstairs, or the entity upstairs gave you all these gifts, and you haven't taken advantage of it. And I'm spitting and slurring, I don't have a great voice. And I was always like, and that leads me into LeBron. You can make the argument, you do realize that LeBron and Carmelo Anthony came out in the same class. And I'm going to give you an opinion on LeBron and Carmelo Anthony. That God gave Carmelo Anthony better offensive gifts. He's always been a better natural ball handler when he wanted to be early. LeBron's become a better ball handler. He was a better shooter than LeBron James. LeBron's just become a better three-ball shooter. That the man upstairs at a very early age gave Carmelo better offensive gifts. And yet LeBron is easily the better offensive player and is aging much better. George Karl, not always well-liked, said when he coached Carmelo later in a book, he just never committed. He was never in great shape. It's kind of a skinny fat thing. When you look at LeBron and Carmelo, that's somebody taking every ounce of what God gave him. And I'm not a real religious guy, but taking it and carving it and respecting it and working at those gifts and not taking any of it for granted. And then there's Carmelo, who never really committed to the defensive end, never looked like he was in great shape. Here was Doug Gottlieb talking about this weekend's games, Carmelo and LeBron.
Yesterday was the greatest symbol of what LeBron James is in the NBA, if you watched both of these games. Because LeBron thoroughly and completely dominated this game physically. Plus, he's shown the added skill to make a three-pointer when he needs to. He's improved as a shooter. And then you watch Carmelo Anthony in the nightcap. And I don't know if you watched Oklahoma City, but Carmelo Anthony looked washed up. They came out the same draft class. Okay, Carmelo Anthony is a year older, okay, but their bodies are completely dissimilar now because LeBron has always taken care of his instrument as opposed to Carmelo Anthony. Sometimes during the offseason, he loses weight and he's hoodie mellow and he gets in shape, whereas LeBron has taken it very seriously, been the most professional of these professionals. And at 15 years, he's still arguably the best or second best player in the league, as opposed to Carmelo Anthony, who's maybe the third best player in the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And I would say probably the fourth best player, because the best is Westbrook, second Paul George, and the third, in terms of commitment, is Steven Adams, and then there's Carmelo, who I'd still start because you're going to the playoffs and he's a veteran. But if you go back to the 2003 NBA draft, there are really a bunch of different physical stories. LeBron has been physically the best. Carmelo Anthony had the gifts, never truly gave it 100%. Chris Bosh worked his tail off and then just had a physical situation he couldn't control. And then there's Dwayne Wade, fifth pick Pat Riley, who is a first ballot Hall of Famer, who took complete commitment to a LeBron level, but he's just deteriorated because there's never been a 6'4.5" guy that plays as big as Dwayne Wade. So LeBron and Dwayne Wade have the best careers of all those guys, and they've taken the body commitment, take care of yourself thing the most seriously. Chris Bosh, total fairness. Chris was a total pro, absolutely committed. Some things your body can't control. But I would make the argument that Carmelo is absolutely more offensively gifted than Dwayne Wade, LeBron James initially, Chris Bosh. He was given more gifts. He's just never, ever. He's the guy with a great voice that gets into radio and just relies on the great voice. I'm Sky Bannister, 96.5, New Mexico's best rock. Yeah, and I was always jealous of that guy. I was like, damn, I'm going to have to smoke a pack of Marlboros a day to get there. You hate Melo. No, I just think he was given way more. I mean, D. Wade still is not a great shooter. That's just work. You forget LeBron when he broke into this league. Yeah, people forget LeBron had a lot of energy. He was a freight train, but his game had very little finesse early. He wasn't a great defender. He was a very good passer. He's become a better ball handler. He's become a significantly better perimeter shooter. LeBron's game was physically intimidating, but it wasn't really refined his first 2 or 3 years in the league. I mean, it's like Kobe Bryant. It's like Michael Jordan. Like, you forget the first 3 or 4 years. I mean, Michael could score, but was really developed an offensive game. I mean, Michael was just relentless, but he became a craftsman at the end of his career. I mean, Kobe Bryant, talented. That's all about hours in the gym. Kobe's the best tough shot maker of my life. It is remarkable. LeBron spends $1.5 million a year, according to a report, according to Maverick Carter, in his body. Man, you can see it. I mean, that is a testament to when you watch